You could say 200 countries plus. We can't do that. So at a certain point over the next week and a half or so, or maybe before, we're going to send out a letter. We talked to many of the countries, and we're just going to tell them what they have to pay to do business in the United States.
Donald Trump is unhappy with the response he has received so far from all nations around the world. After putting tariffs on many countries and claiming that everyone wants a deal with the U.S., more than 200 nations still haven't signed any real trade agreement.
Which countries, if any, are close to agreements with the administration?
Well, that's an interesting question. We've made a deal with China. We've made a deal with probably 4 or 5 different countries, with the UK.
There is a lack of confidence in how he answers the questions because his tariff plan is falling apart. The few agreements that exist are just temporary fixes, not full bilateral agreements. It's almost 2 weeks after he claimed he had a deal with China, but there has been no single response from the Chinese president confirming this deal. Now Trump is sending out threats and warnings, but other countries are pushing back. The man who promised quick deals is still waiting for his first one. So what's really going on? Let's get into it. When he started his aggressive tariffs, Donald Trump made a loud and proud promise that his administration would sign 90 trade deals in 90 days. He announced it with his usual confidence at campaign rallies and on social media. To his supporters, it sounded like bold leadership. To critics, it sounded too good to be true. Now that the 90 days are almost over, the truth is impossible to ignore. Not a single real trade agreement has been finalized. What Trump's team is calling deals are mostly vague memoranda or early-stage frameworks, documents that fall far short of binding agreements. Instead of delivering global progress, the effort has morphed into a publicity campaign where headlines take priority over results.
But this afternoon, with only 10 days left in that timeline, it appears the administration has only 1.5 agreements in place.
The question many are asking now is why world leaders are not rushing to sign anything with Trump. If the United States is so eager, why are other countries keeping their distance? One of Trump's boldest claims was that he had already made a major deal with China's President Xi Jinping. He said it was done and dusted, ready to bring stability after years of trade fights. But something strange happened. President Xi Jinping has not made any official statement nor signed anything, even though his officials say a deal has been reached. Even President Trump admitted that Xi was hard to negotiate with. This silence from Xi Jinping isn't just awkward. It might be a strategy. Some analysts believe that China is choosing to stay quiet on purpose, letting Trump make bold claims that it refuses to support. In doing so, China avoids taking any blame while Trump looks like he made something up. This could be China's way of quietly damaging Trump's image, especially as tensions over tariffs and supply chains continue to hurt both countries' economies. The lack of response from Beijing is starting to look less like hesitation and more like a calculated move. Months into the tariff war, businesses remain paralyzed by confusion and shifting rules. From auto parts to agricultural exports, uncertainty reigns. Behind the scenes, even Trump's own allies are admitting this is mostly smoke and mirrors. The administration is racing against a self-imposed political clock, not economic necessity. Even Mark Short, Trump's former legislative affairs director, admitted this truth bluntly, saying, "What we have at this point are general frameworks from only 2 countries out of about 200 nations in the world." These are the same frameworks that Peter Navarro, the Trump trade advisor, once swore would become 90 deals in 90 days. It is clear it is not happening as the July 9th deadline draws close. What did happen is this. Trump picked a fight with the world by slapping tariffs on friend and foe alike. He disrupted global supply chains, spooked financial markets, and created deep anxiety across entire industries, from Midwest farmers to Wall Street bankers. Then, when the economic consequences became impossible to ignore, he began reaching for frameworks as lifelines. And now, these incomplete drafts are being packaged as diplomatic coups. Is this a strategy? Or is it desperation dressed up as deal-making? The answer becomes more troubling the longer one examines Trump's own behavior. The president is laser-focused on the July 9th deadline, his administration's own artificial finish line for delivering results. But even with this disappointing result, Trump is not backing down. On July 9th, The pause ends, and the penalties will begin. Like it or not, he says, countries will have to start paying up to 50% tariffs unless they make a deal with the US. In a weekend interview on Fox News, Trump proudly announced that letters would soon be sent to foreign governments. His message? Congratulations, you now have the privilege of trading with us. Now you're going to pay 25% or 35% or 50%. To Trump, it's just business, a power move meant to show strength. But to the rest of the world, it lands like an insult. Allies see it not as negotiation, but extortion dressed up as diplomacy.